Welcome back to Reading with Shiloh. This is part 29. Part 29 of the Black Jacobins, the Toussaint Louverture and the San Domingo Revolution by C.L.R. James. The sea of pages that we've been trying to roll through and push through and finish up, man. We've been trying to get it together. Get it together. Man. We almost at the end of the book. We are almost there. We're right at the end, man. Right at the end. Right at the end. We in the appendix. We got like 17 pages left to read. 17 pages, man. And I want to try to finish it tonight. I really do. I want to try to finish it tonight if we can. So it'll probably be longer than our read tonight. Longer than an hour read, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Man, I hope everybody had a wonderful day today. I hope y'all push through it. And as long as you have breath to breathe, like I say, you have all you need to succeed. Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. Oh, Lord. I don't want to do nothing, but I'm going to read. Oh, yeah. I don't want to do nothing, but I got to read. We're going to read. We're going to finish off this book, man. I'm ready to be done with this. I'm ready to be done with it. We've been moving. We've been rolling. We rolled our way through the book. It's a pretty big, hefty book. Hefty. But, man, I think we did good. We had some days where we was missing a couple of days. We probably could have finished earlier. But it's going to be 27. 27. Book 27 down. I done knocked that boy down in the 29th round. That's what I'm trying to do. But we got to get it tonight, man. We got to get it tonight. Oh, I don't want to work out. I don't want to do shit. Oh, all I know is that I'm tired in the bed. Had a long day. I didn't even barbecue like I was supposed to. But I got the meat marinating for tomorrow. Cornbread ready to be made. I got some cabbage ready to be slayed. I'm going to make some seasoned rice. Oh, I'm going to have a big old plate. I'm going to be tired tomorrow. Both of y'all cuckoo. Welcome and shalom, though. I appreciate the comments. All comments help, good, bad, whether they come from numbskulls or righteous folks. Hey, a comment is a comment. All of it helps the channel to grow. Yeah. But before we get to pushing on the last 17 pages of the book, we got to do workout, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Tell your people, man, Shiloh out here reading shit, we learning shit, we doing shit, man. They hating on us because we doing it. We doing it big. We're going to unearth the truth, and we're going to cast down and expose the lies is what we're going to do. And in the midst of it, we're going to see what we can learn. Can we be better? We're going to try to be better. We're going to try to build better habits and tear down and burn down the plantations in our minds the same way Toussaint and, as we're reading right now in the appendix, Fidel Castro did, and the way that they fought for their independence and their revolutions in their prospective places in Haiti and in Cuba. But the main part of the book is about Haiti, San Domingo. I don't know. I don't eat chitlins. I don't eat that shit. But let's go, man. We got to work our body, man. So get y'all butts up. Get your lazy behinds up and let's do some work, man. Let's do some work. Give me 50 things. I'm going to work on giving you 350 things. You give me 50 things. I'm going to work on giving you 350 things. Oh, man. I can feel it in my chest right now. Yeah, all them workouts I've been feeling the last couple of days, we've been doing good. We've been doing good. At least I've been doing good. I know I have. So let's go ahead and get it in, man. Let's go ahead and get it in, man. So we can hurry up and finish reading. I don't want to take too long. 100 jumping jacks. 100 jumping jacks. We probably gonna do 100 mountain climbers tonight. 100 jumping jacks. 100 mountain climbers. 100 of the. I might go down a little bit to 20. What I got right there? What I got right here? 25. Yeah, I might go down a little bit in weight since I'm feeling it. Since I'm definitely feeling it, I might go down a little bit tonight. But yeah, let's go ahead and get 100 going and get it out of the way. At least so we could do that, man. We could do that. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 4, 5, 6, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 4, 85, 6, 87, 8, 89, 90, 91, 2, 93, 94, 95, 6, 97, 98, 99, 100. Ooh, 100 of them bad boys. Man. Whew. Fuck. Let's see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, 33, 34, 35, 36, 8, 39, 40, 41, 43, 44, 45, 46, 48, 49, 50, 51, 53, 54, 55, 58, 59, 60, 61, 3, 64, 65, 66, 8, 69. Ooh. I feel it. 69, 70, 71, 72, 4, 75, 76, 8, 79, 80, 81. Ooh, man. Oh, 81. 81. 81. 82, 83, 84, 86, 87, 88, 89, 1, 92, 93, 94, 6, 97, 8, 9, 100. Oh! Oh, Lord. Let me get my 25. 100. Let me get my 25. Oh, oh Lord. 100. 100. Oh, let's get it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Oh, whew, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 8, 39, 40, 41, 42. I feel it, man. I feel it in my chest for real. 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, woo, woo, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Oh man. Oh man. That's 300. Whew. My shit hurt. My shit hurt. Now let's go 50 up, 50 down, and we'll get to reading. 50 up, 50 down. 50 up, 50 down. Man, I feel it all in my triceps, my chest. I feel all that shit. I ain't gonna even lie. I feel all that. It's hurting, it's hurting, it's hurting. It hurting, it hurting, it's hurting me. What they say, no pain, no gain, huh? No pain, no gain. 25 up, 25 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, 4, 25. 25 down, 25 down. And then we'll finish off the book. 25 down. Whew. 25, 24, 3, 2, 1, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, woo, woo. 12, 11, 10, 9. Oh man. 9. Come on, finish it off. Finish off. 9. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. 350 things. That's my 350. Oh man. That's my 350. Oh man. Ooh-wee. Man, I'm tired. Man, oh Lord. You know, doing them, pushing it up to 350, man. Man, I know I'm trying to build a habit, but pushing that shit up to 350, oh man, that's no joke. At least for me right now. Maybe I should have stayed down at 500 for a little longer. Oh man, maybe I should have stayed at that 500. But hey, fuck it, man. We got to keep moving up. Whether we like it or not, we're going to have to keep growing and going, growing and going. Oh man, I definitely feel that shit in my chest, my damn triceps, all the back of my arms is on fire. It's on fire. But shalom, everybody. Let's get to reading now. We done worked our body. Let's work our mind. Whew. And finish out the appendix of the Toussaint Louverture and the San Domingo Slave Revolution. Let's finish it out. When y'all come on in, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your people. We'll pick up where we left off. Mr. Caesar. C.L.R's poem is what we read last. I think it was a pretty good poem, a pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Informative poem. Very well thought out, considering the time. Now, this is part 29 of the appendix. The appendix. From Caesar's strictly poetic affinities, we have to turn our faces, if even with distinct loss, to our larger general purpose. But Collier has united elements in modern thought, which seems destined to remain asunder, and these had better be enumerated. Number one, he has made a union of the African sphere of existence with existence in the Western world. Number two, the past of mankind and the future of mankind are historically and logically linked. Number three, no longer for external stimulus, but from their own self-generated and independent being and motion will Africa and Africans move towards an integrated humanity. It is the Anglo-Saxon poet who has seen for the world in general what the West Indian has seen concretely for Africa. Here, the impossible union of spheres of existence is actual. And here, the past and future are conquered and reconciled. And where actions were over otherwise movement of that which is only moved and has in it no source of movement. Now, Mr. Eliot's conclusion is incarnation in C.L.R's negritude. And Collier appeared in 1938 in Paris, a year before the Black Jacobins had appeared in London. And the writer had made the forward step of resurrecting not the decadence, but the grandeur of the West Indian people. But as is obvious all through the book, and particularly in the last pages, it is Africa and African emancipation that he has in mind. Today, but only today, we can define what motivated this West Indian preoccupation with Africa between the wars, and the West Indians were and had always been Western educated. Now, West Indian society confined Black men to a very narrow strip of social territory, and the first step to freedom was to go abroad. But they could begin to see themselves as a free and independent people. They had to be clear. They had to clear their minds, clear from minds the stigma that anything African was inherently inferior and degraded. The road to West Indian national identity lay through Africa. And the West Indian national community constantly evades racial categorization. And after Ortiz, it was another white West Indian who in the same period proved himself to be the greatest politician in the democratic tradition from the West Indies whom the West Indies has ever seen. Man. Now, Arthur Andrew Caprini was a French Creole in the island of Trinidad who came into public life as on as an officer in the West Indian contingent in World War I, and it was in an army that many of the soldiers, medley from all the British West Indian islands for the first time wore shoes constantly, but they were the product of their peculiar history. And the speed with which they adjusted themselves to the spiritual and material requirements of the modern war amazed all observers, from General Allenby down. And Caprini made a reputation for himself by his militant defense of the regiment against all prejudice, officials and unofficial. And to the end of his days, he spoke constantly of the recognition they had won, and by profession, a trainer of horses. It was only after much persuasion that, on his return home after the war, already a man over 40, he entered politics. And he at once put himself forward as the champion of the common people, and in his own phrase, the barefooted man. And before very long, this white man was acknowledged as leader by hundreds of thousands of Black people and West Indians. And an utterly and fearless man, he never left the colonial government in any doubt as to what it was up against. Now, all who ever heard him speak remember his raising of his right hand and him slow enunciation of the phrase, "If I raise my little finger," against tremendous odds, he forced the government to capitulate on workmen's compensation and the 8-hour day, trade union legislation, and other elementary constituents of democracy. And year after year, he was elected mayor of the capital city. And he made the mayoralty, a center of opposition to the British colonial office and all its works. Now, Caprini always treated West Indians as a modern contemporary people, and he declared himself to be a socialist and a day in and day out, inside and outside of the legislature. He attacked capitalists and capitalism. He attached his party to the British Labour Party and scrupulously kept his followers aware of their privileges and responsibilities as members of the international labor movement. Caprini was that rare type of politician to whom words express realities. And long before any of the other territories of the colonial empires, he not only raised the slogans of national independence and federation of the British West Indies territories, he went tirelessly from island to island, mobilizing public opinion in general and the labor movement in particular in support of these slogans. And he died in 1945. And the islands had never seen before and have not seen since anything or anybody like him. Now, the West Indian masses jumped ahead even of Caprini, and in 1937, among the oil field workers in Trinidad, the largest proletarian group in the West Indies, a strike began. And like a fire along the tender track, it spread to the entire island. And then from island to island, ending in an upheaval at the other end of the curve. And in Jamaica, thousands of miles away, the colonial government in Jamaica collapsed completely, and two local popular leaders had to take over the responsibility of restoring some sort of social order. The heads of the government in Trinidad and Tobago saved their administrations, but earned the wrath of the imperial government by expressing sympathy with the revolt, and the British government sent a royal commission, which took much evidence and discovered long-standing evils and made proposals by no means unintelligent or reactionary. As usual, they were late and they were slow. And had Caprini been the man he was 10 years earlier, self-government, federation, and economic regeneration, which he had advocated so strenuously and so long, could have been initiated then. But the old warrior was nearly 70, and he flinched at the mass upheavals, which he more than anyone else had prepared, and the opportunity was lost. But he had destroyed the legend and established once and for all the West Indian people were ready to follow the most advanced theories of the uncompromising leadership. 3. After World War II. Cabrini had built soundly, and he left behind the Caribbean Labor Congress devoted to federation, independence, and the creation of an enlightened peasantry. But what has happened to Castro's Cuba is inherent in these unfortunate islands. And in 1945, the Congress, genuinely West Indian, joined the World Federation of Trade Unions. But in 1948, the body split into the World Federation of Trade Unions of the East and the International Confederation of Free Trade Unions of the West. The split in the international split, the split in the international split the Caribbean Labor Congress, and it lost its place as the as the leader and inspirer of a genuinely West Indian movement. And the British colonial office took the color middle class under its wing, and these gradually filled the civil service and related organizations, and they took over the political parties, and with the parties, the old colonial system. What is this old colonial system? It is the oldest Western relic of the 17th century still alive in the world today and surrounded on all sides by a modern population. The West Indies, or Indies, have never been a traditional colonial territory with clearly distinguished economic and political relations between two different cultures. Native culture, there was none. The Aboriginal Amerindian civilization had been destroyed. Amerindian, that is something to look up. Amerindian. The Aboriginal Amerindian civilization. I wonder if those are the ones that they call Haitians, where they got Haiti from in the first place. Every succeeding year, therefore, saw the laboring population, slave or free, incorporating itself into itself more and more of the language, custom, aims, and outlook of its masters. And it steadily grew in number until it became a terrifying majority of the total population. And the ruling minority, therefore, was in the position of the father who produced children and had to guard against being supplanted by them. And there was only one way out: to seek strength abroad, and this beginning has lasted unchanged to this very day. The dominant industrial structure has been the sugar plantation, and for over 200 years, the sugar industry has tottered on the brink of disaster and remaining alive by an unending succession of last-minute rescues by gifts, concessions, quotas from the metropolitan power or powers. Sugar manufacturers, the grim future, from our correspondent, Georgetown, September the 3rd. The British West Indies Sugar Association's chairman, Sir Robert Kirkwood, has stated here that cane sugar manufacturers were facing a grim future, and the position was reaching a stage where beet sugar production should be restricted to provide cane manufacturers with an enlarged market. And Sir Robert pointed out that Britain's participation in the European common market should be no threat to sugar manufacturers in the region, provided performances under the Commonwealth Sugar Agreement were preserved. Now, you would be able to read the same in any European newspaper at regular intervals during the last 200 years. And recent official reports on the life and labor of the plantation laborer are moved to language remarkably similar to that of the nonconformist agitators against plantation slavery. Now, there are economists and scientists today in the West Indies who believe that the most fortunate economic occurrence would be a blight that would destroy the sugarcane completely and thus compel some new type of economic development. Now, as they have been from the first days of slavery, financial power and its mechanism are today entirely in the hands of the metropolitan organizations and their agents. Now, such a westernized population needs quantities of pots, pans, plates, spoons, knives, forks, papers, pencil, pens, cloth, bicycles, buses for public transportation, automobiles, and all the elementary appurtenances of civilization appurtenances. Of civilization with the islands do not manufacture, and not forgetting Mercedes-Benz, Bentleys, Jaguars, and Lincolns. They don't need none of that shit. In this type of commerce, the dominating elements of the foreign manufacturers and the foreign banks. The most revealing feature of this trade and the oldest is the still massive importation of food, including fresh vegetables. Now, the few industries of importance, such as oil and bauxite, are completely in the hands of the foreign firms, and the local politicians run a ferocious competition with each other in offering inducements to similar firms to establish new industries here and not there. Bauxite. Let's see what that means. Bauxite. Not boxes. How do you pronounce it? Bauxite is a natural occurring heterogeneous material composed primarily of one or more aluminum hydroxide minerals plus various mixtures of silica, iron oxide, titania, and aluminosilicate, and other impurities in minor or trace amounts. As with materials, so the intellectual necessities. And in island after island, the daily newspaper is entirely in the hands of foreign firms. Radio and television cannot evade the fate of newspapers. And in 1963, the old colonial system is not what it was in 1863. And in 1863, it was not what it had been in 1763 or 1663. The fundamentals outlined above, however, have not changed, and but for the first time, the system is now threatened, and not from without, but from within, and not by communism, not by socialism, but by plain, simple parliamentary democracy. The old colonial system in the West Indies was not a democratic system, and was not born as such, and it cannot live with democracy. Within the West Indian island, the old colonial system and democracy are incompatible, and one has to go. One has to go. That is the logic of development of every West Indian territory: Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the former British colonies, the former French colonies, and even Puerto Rico, the poor relation of the wealthy United States. Now, the supreme wrong of the West Indian politics is that the old colonial system has so isolated the ruling classes from the national community that plain, ordinary parliamentary democracy suffused with a sense of national identity can remake the island, and statistics of production and the calculation of votes together form the surest roads towards misunderstanding the West Indies. To which, for good measure, add the antagonism of races, and the people of the West Indies were born in the 17th century in a westernized productive and social system, and members of different African tribes were carefully split up to lessen conspiracy, and they were therefore compelled to master the European languages, highly complex products of centuries of civilization. And from the start, there had been a gap, and constantly growing, between the rudimentary conditions of the life of the slave and the language he used. There was therefore in West Indian society an inherent antagonism between the consciousness of the Black masses and the reality of their lives, an inherent that in that it was constantly produced and reproduced not by agitators, but by the very conditions of the society itself. Now, it is the modern media of mass communication which have made essence into existence. And for an insignificant sum per month, the black masses can hear on the radio news of Dr. Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, and Dr. Julius Banda, Prime Minister Nehru, and events and personalities of the United Nations and all the capitals of the world. And they can wrestle with what the West thinks of the East and what the East thinks of the West. And the cinema prevents actualities and not infrequently stirs the imagination with the cinematic masterpieces of the world. Now, every hour, on the hour, all variations of food, clothing, household necessities, and luxuries are presented as absolutely essential to the civilized existence. And all this to a population which over large areas still lives in conditions little removed from slavery. Yeah, they don't need all that shit. They don't need all that shit. The high material civilization of the white minority is now fortified by the concentration of the colored middle class on making salaries and fees do the work of incomes. And sometimes a quarter of the population is crowded into the capital city, and the masses irresistibly attracted by the contrast between what they see and hear and the lives they live. And this was the tinder to which Castro placed a match. An historical tradition, education, in the sense of grappling with the national past, there is none. And history is taught, and history as taught is what it always has been, propaganda for those, and whoever they may be, who administrated the old colonial system. Power here is more naked than in any other part of the world, and hence the brutality, savagery, even personal cruelties of the regimes of Trujillo and Duvalier, and the power of the Cuban Revolution. And this is the instrument on which perform all West Indian soloists and foreign or native. And take the French West Indian islands of Martinique and Guadeloupe. The colonial administration declared an act and acted for Vichy, the mass of the population for the resistance. And Vichy defeated the islands wholeheartedly, became departments of France, anxious to be assimilated into French civilization. But the hand of Paris administration, notoriously heavy in the provincial administrations of France itself, is a crushing weight on any attempt to change the old colonial system. And today, the masses of the population, disillusioned, is demanding independence, and their students in Paris are leading the struggle with blood, with boldness, and with brilliance available to all who use the French language. Now, the British system, unlike the French, does not crush the quest for the national identity, and instead it stifles it. It formed the federation of its Caribbean colonies, but the old colonial system consisted of insular economies, and each with its financial and economical capital in London. Whew. Now, a federation meant that the economic line of direction should no longer be free from island to London, but from island to island. But that involved the breakup of the old colonial system, and the West Indian politicians preferred the breakup of the federation, and 2 of the islands have actually been granted independence. The Queen of England is their queen, and they receive royal visits. Their legislatures began with prayers. Their legislative bills are read 3 times, and a mace has been presented to each of these distant infants by the mother of the parliaments. And their prominent citizens can receive an assortment of letters after their names, and in time the prefix Sir, and this no longer lessens but intensifies the battle between the old colonial system and democracy. And long before the actual independence was granted, large numbers of the middle classes, including their politicians, wanted it put off as far into the distance as possible. For the cruiser in the offing and the prospect of financial gifts and loans, they turned longing eyes and itching feet towards the United States. The Caribbean is now an American sea, and Puerto Rico is its showpiece. Puerto Rican society has the near celestial privilege of free entry into the United States for their unemployed and their ambitious. And the United States returns to the Puerto Rican government all duty collected on such staple imports as rum and cigars. And American money for investment and American loans and gifts should create the Caribbean paradise. But if the United States had the Puerto Rican density of population, it would contain all the people in the world. And Puerto Rico is just another West Indian island. Man. Now, in the Dominican Republic, there is no need to go beyond saying that Trujillo had gained power by the help of the United States Marines, and all through the more than quarter century of his infamous dictatorship, he had understood to enjoy the friendship of Washington. And before the recent election of his successor, Senior Juan Bosch, the French newspaper stated as an item of news that members of the left in the Dominican Republic, names were given, were deported to Paris by the local police, and who were assisted in this operation by members of the FBI. Now, Trujillo gone, the Duvalier of Haiti is the uncrowned king of Latin American barbarism. And it is widely believed that despite the corruption and impertinence of his regime, it is American support which keeps him in power, and better Duvalier than another Castro. Now, such a mass of ignorance and falsehood has surrounded these islands for so many centuries that, obvious truths sound like revelations. And contrary to the general belief, the Caribbean territories taken as a whole are not sunk in irremediable poverty. Now, when he was principal of the University of the West Indies in Jamaica, Professor Arthur Lewis, former head of the Faculty of Economics at Manchester University, and at the time of writing due to head the same faculty at Princeton, tried to remove some cobwebs from the eyes of the fellow West Indians. And this opinion that the West Indies can raise all the capital it needs from its own resources is bound to shock many people. But West Indians like to feel that ours is a poor community. But the fact of the matter is that at least half of the people in the world are poorer than we are. And the standard of living in the West Indies is higher than the standard of living in India or China, and in most of the countries of Asia, and in most of the countries of Africa. And the West Indies is not a poor community. It is in the upper bracket of the world economy, the world income. It is capable of producing the extra 5 or 6% of resources which is required for this job. And just as Ceylon and Ghana are finding the money they need for development by taxing themselves, it is not necessary for us to send our statesmen around the world begging for help. And if help is given to us, let us accept it. But let us not sit down and say nothing can be done until the rest of the world, out of its goodness of heart, is willing to grant us charity. Now, the economic road they have to travel is a broad highway, and in which the signposts have long been erected. And Senior Juan Bosch began his campaign by promising to distribute the land confiscated by the baronial plunder of the Trujillo family. Now, his supporters rapidly transformed this into a house and land for every Dominican, not only popular demand and modern economists, but British royal commissions during the last 60 years have indicated cautiously but clearly enough that the way out of the West Indian Moorish is the abolition of the plantation laborer and the substitution instead of individual landowning. Peasants and scientists and economics have indicated that an effective industry is possible and based on the scientific and planned use of raw material produced on the islands. Now, I have written in vain if I have not made it clear that of all formerly colonial colored peoples, the West Indian masses are the most highly experienced in the ways of Western civilization and the most receptive to its requirements in the 20th century. And to realize themselves, they will have to break out of the shackles of the old colonial system. I do not propose to plunge this appendix into the turbulent waters of controversy about Cuba. And I have written about the West Indies in general, and Cuba is the most West Indian island in the West Indies, and that suffices. And one more question remains, the most realistic and most pregnant question of all. Toussaint Louverture and the Haitian slaves brought into the world more than the abolition of slavery. And when Latin Americans saw the small and insignificant Haiti could win and keep independence, they began to think that they ought to be able to do the same. Now, Pichon, the ruler of Haiti, nursed back to health the sick and defeated Bolivar and gave him money, arms, and the printing press to help in the campaign, which ended in the freedom of the 5 states. And what will happen to what Fidel Castro has brought new to the world, no one can say. But what is waiting in the West Indies to be born and what emerged from the womb in July of 1958 is to be seen elsewhere in the West Indies and not so confused with the past and fell incense points of mighty opposites. Now I speak now of the section of the West Indies of which I have had during the past 5 years intimate and personal experience of the writers and the people. But this time, the people first. For if the ideologists have moved closer towards the people have caught up with the ideologists, and the national identity is a national fact. Now in Trinidad in 1957, before there was any hint of the revolution in Cuba, the ruling political party suddenly declared, contrary to the declaration of policy with which it had won the election, that during the war, the British government of Sir Winston Churchill had given away Trinidad property and it should be returned. Now, what happened is one of the greatest events in the history of the West Indies, and the people rose to the call. And mass meetings and mass demonstrations, political passions such as the island had never known, swept through the population. And inside the chains of the old colonial system, the people of the West Indies are a national community. The middle classes looked on with some in uncertainty, but with a growing approval. And the local whites are not like whites in the foreign civilizations. They are West Indians and under a strong impulse and think of themselves as such. And many of them quietly made known their sympathy with the cause, and the political leader was uncompromising in his demand for the return. And I shall break Chagarmas. I shall break Chagarmas, or it will break me. And he declared, and the words sprouted wings, and he publicly asserted to mass meetings of many thousands that if the State Department, backed by the Colonial Office, continued to refuse to discuss the return of the base, he would take Trinidad not only out of the West Indian Federation, but out of the British Association altogether. And he would establish the independence of the island. And all previous treaties entered into under the colonial regime would automatically become null and void. And thus, he would deal with the Americans, and he forbade them to use the Trinidad airport for their military planes. And in a magnificent address, From Slavery to Chagarmas, he said that the centuries of the West Indies had been bases, military footballs of warring imperialist powers, and the time had come to finish with it. and it is the present writer's opinion, he was, for the crucial period, editor of the party journal, that it was the response of the population which sent the political leaders so far upon the perilous road that showed simply that they thought the Americans should quit the base and return it to the people. And this was all the more remarkable in that the Trinidad people freely admitted to Trinidad had never enjoyed such financial opulence as when the Americans were there and during the war. America was undoubtedly the potential source of economic and financial aid, but there they were ready for any sacrifices needed for the return of the base. And they were indeed ready for anything. And the political leadership had to take great care to do or say nothing which would precipitate any untoward mass intervention. We're almost there. What was perhaps the most striking feature of this powerful national upheaval was its concentration on the national issue and its disregard for all others. And there was not the slightest trace of anti-American feeling. And though the British Colonial Office was portrayed as ally of the State's Department and the demand for political independence was well on the way, there was equally no trace of anti-British feelings. And there was no inclination towards non-alignment, or not even, despite the pressure for independence, anti-imperialism. The masses of the people of Trinidad and Tobago looked upon the return of the base as the first and primary stage of their quest for national independence, that they were prepared to suffer for, and if need be, of this I am as certain as one can be of such things, to fight and die for. But in the usual accompaniments of the struggle against the foreign base, they were not in any way concerned, and not that they did not know, but they most certainly knew, but they had had a long experience of international relations, and they knew precisely what they wanted. And right up to the islands, the population responded in the same way to what they felt was an West Indian matter. The press conference of the political leader was the most popular radio program in the West Indian Islands, and it was 1937 through 1938 all over again, and free is how you is from the start. Free is how you is from the start. And when it looked different, you got to move. Just move. And when you're moving, say that is a natural freedom, make you move. And though the British flag still blew above them, in their demands and their demonstrations for JACOBINS, they were free, freer than they might be for a long time. And the West Indian national identity is more easily to be glimpsed than the published writings of the West Indian authors. Now, Vic Reed of Jamaica is the only West Indian novelist who lives in the West Indies, and that presumably is why he set his scene in Africa. And an African who knows the West Indies well assures me that there is nothing African about Reed's story, and it is the West Indies in African dress. And whatever it is, the novel of the tour de force, African or West Indian, it reduces the human problems to underdeveloped countries to a common denominator. The distinctive tone of the new West Indian orchestra is not loud, but it is clear. And Reed is not unconcerned about the fate of his characters, and the political passions are sharp and locked in murderous conflict. But Reed is detached as no European or African writer is or can be detached, as Garvey, Padmore, Caesar were not and could not be detached. The origin of the detachment appears very clearly in the most powerful and far-ranging of the West Indian schools, George Laming of Barbados. Now, confirming and confining ourselves strictly to our purpose, we shall limit ourselves to citing only one episode from the latest of his 4 powerful novels. Powell, a character in Season of Adventure, is a murderer, a rapist, and although criminal member of the West Indian Society, suddenly, after 9/10 of the book, the author injects 3 pages headed Author's Notes. Writing in the first person, he accounts for Powell. And until the age of 10, Powell and I lived together, equal in the affection of 2 mothers. And Powell had made my dreams, and I had lived his passions, and identical in years, the stage and stage by stage, Powell and I were taught in the same primary school. And then the division came. I got a public scholarship, which started my migration into another world, a world whose roots were the same, but whose style of living was entirely different from what my childhood knew. And it had earned me a privilege which now shut Powell and the whole tunnel right out of my future. And I had lived as near to Powell as my skin to the hand it darkens. And yet I forget the tonel as men forget a war, and I attached myself to the new world, which was so recent and so slight beside the weight of what had gone before, and instinctively I attached myself to what that new privilege, and in spite of all my effort, I am not free of its embrace to this day. Ooh-wee. 2 more pages. We really got two more pages. I believe deep in my bones that the mad impulse which drove Powell to his criminal defeat was largely my doing. And I will not have this explained away by talking about environment, nor can I allow my own moral infirmity to be transferred to a foreign conscience, law labeled imperialist. And I shall go beyond my grace and knowledge that I am responsible for what happens to my brother. And Powell still resided somewhere in my heart with a dubious love, some strange, nameless shadow of regret, and yet with the deepest nostalgia, for I have never felt myself to be an honest part of anything since the world of this childhood deserted me. Ooh-wee. Excuse me. My eyes getting heavy. Now, this is something new in the voluminous literature of the anti-colonialism, and the West Indian of this generation accepts complete responsibility for the West Indies. And Vida Neopal of Trinidad does the same, and his Mr. Biswas writes his first article for a newspaper. Daddy Comes Home in a Coffin, U.S. Explorer's Last Journey on Ice by Biswas. Ooh-wee. Less than a year ago, Daddy, George Elmer, Edmund, and the celebrated traveler and explorer left home to explore the Amazon. And well, I have news for you, kiddies. Daddy is on his way home. And yesterday, he passed through Trinidad in a coffin. That boy dead. That boy dead. Now, this earns Mr. Biswas, former agricultural laborer, the keeper of a small shop, a job on the staff of this paper, and Mr. Biswas wrote a letter to protest. It took him 2 weeks, and it was 8 typewritten pages long, and after many rewritings, the letter developed into a broad philosophical essay on the nature of man. And his son goes to a secondary school, and together they hunt through Shakespeare for quotations and find a rich harvest of Measure for Measure. The foreigner may miss this bland reproduction of the modus operandi and of the well-greased West Indian journalist, politician, and prime minister. Let me sit up. Now, Mr. Biswas is now a man of letters, and he is invited to a session of local literature. And Mr. Biswas, whose poetic peak is Ella Wheeler Wilcox, is bewildered by whiskey and talk about Lorca, Eliot, and Uden. It might be Aden or Auden. And every member of the group must submit a poem. And one night, after looking at the sky through the window, Mr. Biswas finds his theme. He addresses his mother, and he did not think of rhythm. He used no cheating abstract words, and he wrote of coming up to the brow of the hill and seeing the blacks, forked earth, and the marks of the spade, and the indentations of the fork prongs. And he wrote of the journey he had made of a long time before. And he was tired, and she made him rest. And he was hungry, and she gave him food. And he had nowhere to go, and she welcomed him. It is a poem Mr. Biswas announced in prose. And there is no title, he said. And as he had expected, this was received with satisfaction. And he had disgraced himself. Then he disgraced himself. Thinking himself free of what he had written, he ventured on his poem boldly, and even with a touch of self-mockery. But as he read, his hands began to shake, and the paper rustled. And when he spoke of the journey, his voice failed, and it cracked, and kept on cracking, and his eyes tinkled. But he went on, and his emotion was such that at the end, no one said a word. The West Indian had made a fool of himself imitating American journalism. Shakespeare, T.S. Eliot, Lorca, and he had arrived at truth when he wrote about his own West Indian childhood, his West Indian mother, and the West Indian landscape. Now, Nepal is an East Indian, and Mr. Biswas is an East Indian. But the East Indian problem in the West Indies is a creation of politicians of both races seeking means to avoid attacking the old colonial system. And the East Indian has become as West Indian as all the other expatriates. The latest West Indian novelist is one of the strangest and living novelists. And beginning in 1958, he has just concluded the quartet of novels. And he is from British Guyana, which is a part of the South American continent. And there are nearly 40,000 square miles of mountains, plateau, forest, jungle, savanna, the highest waterfalls in the world, Native Amerindians, and settled communities of escaped African slaves, all largely unexplored. And for 15 years over this new territory, Wilson Harris worked as a land surveyor, and he is a member of the typical West Indian society of 600,000 people, which inhabits a thin strip of coastline. And Harris sets the final seal on the West Indian conception of itself as a national identity. And on the run from the police, a young Guyanese, half Chinese, half Negro, discovers that all previous generations, Dutch, English, French, capitalists, slaves, freed slaves, white and blacks, were expatriates. Now, all the restless, wayward spirits of all the eons who it was thought to have been embalmed for good are returning to roost in our blood. And we have to start all over again where they began to explore. And we've got to pick up the seeds again where they left off. And it's no use worshiping the rottenness Tacoba, the rottenness Tacoba, and the tree trunk in the historical topsoil. I think Tacoba must be a plant. Tacoba, not Tacoma. Tacouba. to Kaaba. It really isn't a definition. It's a type of, everything is showing it's a type of food or a type of design. Oh, my bad. It means Takaba, meaning a tree trunk, a fallen tree trunk, a fallen tree trunk, typically one of which only the hardwood remains, especially one which impedes the navigation of a river. Now, there's a whole world of branches and sensations we've missed, and we've got to start again from the roots up, even if they look like nothing. Blood, sap, flesh, veins, arteries, lungs, heart, the heartland. Now, Sharon, we're the first potential parents who can contain the ancestral house, and too young. Too young? I don't know. Too much responsibility, and time will tell. We've got to face it, or else it will be too late to stop everything and everyone from running away and tumbling down. And then all the king's horses and all the king's men won't be able to put us together again. And like all the bananas and the plantains and the coffee trees near Charity, not far from here, a small wind comes and everything comes out of the ground. And because the soil is unstable, just Pegasus, just Pegas, Pegas, Pegas. It said big ass. Pegas. Not Vegas, bitch. Pegasse. I wish I knew how to pronounce it. Where's the pronunciation? Pegas refers to a type of tropical peat soil, a dark, spongy, and acidic soil found in the areas of Guyana, characterized by high organic content and formed under waterlogged conditions. Now, it looks rich on top, but that's about all. And what do you think they say when it happens, when crops run away? They shrug and say they're expendable crops, and they can't begin to see that it's us, our blood, running away all the time, in the rivers and in the sea and everywhere, staining the brush. And now is the time to make a newborn stand, Sharon. You and me, it's up to us. Even if we fall on our knees and creep to anchor ourselves before we get up. There's no space here to deal with the poet in the literary tradition or the ballad singer. And in dance and in the innovation in musical instruments, in popular ballad singing unrivaled anywhere in the world, the mass of the people are not seeking a national identity, and they are expressing one. And the West Indian writers have discovered the West Indies, and the West Indians, a people of the middle of our disturbed century, and concerned with the discovery of themselves, determined to discover themselves, but without hatred or malice against the foreigner. And even the bitter imperialists passed to become welcome into the comity of nations, and a new nation must bring something new. And otherwise, it is a mere administrative convenience or necessity. Now, the West Indians have brought something new. Come on, sucker. Albion, too, was once a colony like ours, deranged by foaming channels and the vain expanse of bitter faction. All the compassion ends, and so differently from what the heart arranged. Now passion, not spent, but turned inward, and Toussaint tried and paid for it with his life, and torn, twisted, stretched to the limits of agony, injected with poisonous patent medicines, it lives in the state which Fidel started, and it is of the West Indies, West Indian. For it, Toussaint, the first and greatest of West Indians, paid with his life. And that was the book. That was the end. The end of the Black Jacobins, man. Another one assassinated. Oh, I'm out here. Knocking books down. Knocking books down. Reading all around. Where's my pen? I was getting tired, Jack. Add me another mark to this. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27. This has been book number 27. The Black Jacobins by C.L.R. James, the Toussaint Louverture and the San Domingo Revolution, the 27th book that I have assassinated on Reading with Shiloh, man. I knocked that boy out. I was getting sleepy at the end, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I was getting sleepy at the end, but I still succeeded. I succeeded in the first 350 things. I succeeded in finishing the book and finishing the appendix. Oh, all praises. I succeeded. Oh, man. And I'm tired now. I'm tired. Let's get the next book on the list. Oh, man. Since I have assassinated the Black Jacobins, the next book on the list will be Africans in Colonial Louisiana, the development of Afro-Creole culture in the 18th century. Man. Winner of the Johns Hope Franklin Publication Prize and the Theodore Salautos Memorial Book Award and the Willie Lee Rose Prize and the Elliott Rudwick Prize and other awards. One of the most exciting frontiers in the writing of history in the present day has centered on the effort to recapture the document the actions and sayings of people who built the modern world, but were hitherto excluded from historical accounts. To this adventure, Gwendolyn Midlow Hall has contributed a masterful study of the ways in which Africans introduced from Senegambia shaped the culture and society of colonial Louisiana. An indefatigable investigator, Halls reveals for us in richly textured details the lives of slaves, free people, and maroons in towns and in the cypress swamps. They got a lot of cypress swamps down here. And the result is a truly extraordinary book about the extraordinary people. Eric R. Wolf, City University of New York. Now, Africans in colonial Louisiana opens to view a new transnational conception of the American culture that grew from slavery and from slave resistance, and describes a process of creolization whose full effects have perhaps become only apparent, at least to scholars in the present day, and it promises to shape the course of the future research in American studies for many years to come. From the John Hope Franklin Publication Prize Committee citation, American Studies Association. A tour de force, which is what I just read that word. It greatly enlarges the ordinary meanings of that popular phrase, history from the bottom up. Withrop D. Jordan, Journal of American History. We're going to see what this one is about. We're going to see what this one is about, especially since a lot of the slaves and I don't want to call them refugees, but when they was kicking people out, you know, came from Haiti. A lot of Haitian stuff came to Louisiana. Did a lot of the French dealings between Haiti and Louisiana. So I think this is the reason why, the reason why this book is going to go good with the other two books on, you can say, Haiti or the French colonies at that time, being that Louisiana was a part of the French colonies, and Opelousas being one of the places. But hey, we finished the book. We finished it. So I can go ahead and put this one up and put the other one on the shelf to be read next. That's next on the list. This will be book number 28. Oh, man. I'm going to go ahead and put my damn bookmark in here, the preface. We'll come back at the next reading with SHILO and start the preface of this book by Miss Gwendolyn Midlow Hall. Oh, man, we finished it. I'm tired. Oh, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I can go to sleep in my chair. But I got 100 jumping jacks to do, and I not dare stop. So we worked our body. We worked our mind for sure. I worked my mind so much I'm tired and ready to go. But we're going to go ahead and do these last 350 things, man. So get off your ass like I'm about to get off my ass and help the pounds to pass by doing 100. I'm going to do 100 jumping jacks, 100 mountain climbers, 100 of them, and 50 push-ups, 25 up and 25 down, and that'll be it for the night. I'll probably go cut me up a couple of nectarines and snack on some nectarines. Sprinkle me a little salt on that thing. Oh, wait. My eyes is heavy. My body tired. I'm telling you, man. My body telling me, don't do it. Just go to sleep. Don't do it. Just go to sleep. But you can't listen to that. You cannot listen to that shit. So let's go ahead and get these 100 out the way, man. Ugh. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, man. Trying to find where I put that last book. There we go. Let me put it by that. I like to keep my books a certain type of way. Just like a library, man. I want to keep it a certain type of way. All right. Let's work this out. Let's work this out so that way I can stop bullshitting. 100 jumping jacks, and then we're going to do 100 mountain climbers. Oh, and we're going to get it done and get out of here, man. Get out of here. Because I'm feeling so sluggish right now. Sweat it out a little bit. Let's go, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 6, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 6, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, woo, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 6, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 2, 83, 84, 85, 86. Man, my thighs is killing me. 86. Keep going. 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 2, 93, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 99, 100. Oh, man. Man, I want to stop. I want to stop. Hey. But I want to stop. 100 mountain climbers. Let's go. 100 mountain climbers. And I'm counting. I'm not going 1, 2, 1. I'm just going 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shit, man. Whew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 33, 34, 36, 37, 38, 39, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 55, 56, 57, 59, 60, 61, 62, 64, 65, 66, 68, 69. We almost there. 70, come on, 71, 72, 75, 76, 77, 78, 80, 81, 82, 83, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 2, 93, 6, 97, 98, 99, 100, that's 100. Fuck it. Whew. Whew. Man, hold on. Let's get it. Maybe you can do some of these too. Oh. Make me a pillow. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Oh man, oh man. Talk about feeling, man. 36, 37, 38, 39. Whew, go back. 40, 41, 42, 43. Oh man, oh man. 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. 50, 51, 52, 53. Fuck. 53, 53. 54, 55, 56. Man, I feel that thing all, I'm telling you, all back here. My chest, I feel it too, but definitely my triceps. On that way back up, oh, the way down, I feel my chest. The way back up, my triceps. Oh, man. He burning. 53, 54. 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, whoo-wee, 62. I hope y'all doing something. Shit. Get off y'all ass and do something. Like I'm trying to do something. 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. Oh, shit, man. 81. 81. 82. 83. 84. 85. 86. 87. 88. 89. 90. 91. 92, 93, 94, 95. Come on, bitch. Get up, get up. 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Oh, shit. Talk about feel it. Boy, I feel it. I feel it. And that's what you want to do. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You want to feel it. 50 up, 50 down. And we out of here. 50, I mean, not 50 up, 50 down. 25, 50 all together. 25 up, 25 down. And we'll be done with reading with Shiloh for the night. We'll have worked our body, worked our mind, and worked our body twice. Whew, let's get it, man. Let's get it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 25. One more set. 25 down. 25 down. 25 down, and we good to go. Whew, I'm feeling it, man. I am feeling it. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm feeling it. Whew. 25 down. Let's go. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, What? Oh, shit, boy. Man, I felt that shit. Man, oh, man. Whew. Hey, that ends it for the night, man. I was tired. Yeah, I worked myself in more ways than one. We got the reading in. We got the 700 things down, man. It was a longer reading tonight because I had them 17 pages. I definitely wanted to finish that. Oh, man. Whoo-wee. I feel it, man. It's starting to pound my chest. But I think that's what I need to make my chest grow, which is what I want. So, like they say, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. Hey, man, like, comment, subscribe, share. Tell you people we out here doing shit, learning shit, reading shit. We trying to grow some shit, build some shit, hunt some shit, clean and cook some shit. We trying to be better. We trying to be better. That is the objective. To be better than we were before, to be better than we were yesterday, and it's going to take some doing. It's going to take some hard work at times. It's going to take some doing, especially at times like this when you don't want to do nothing. That's when you find out what you're really made of, is when you don't want to do stuff. Do you still have the discipline to get up and do it? And it can be hard. It is hard. Oh, believe me, it's hard. It was hard to do all that because I didn't want to do nothing. I'd rather just go get in my bed, man. Get in my bed. But it is what it is. We completed. We succeeded. 27 books. 27 books assassinated. 27 times I've destroyed the world. Oh, man. So let's keep going. Let's keep seeking the treasures. Let's keep seeking the treasures. Let's keep tearing up the propaganda. Oh, man. Let's unearth the truths. Let's find the things that they have hidden in the book for us. Let's do better. Let's do better. As long as you have breath to breathe, then you have all you need to succeed. So let's succeed. Let's do so, man. So, hey, shalom, everybody. I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Oh, man. I hope y'all have a wonderful night, man. Until next time, catch me on the next go round. It'll be tomorrow morning sometime, or depending on what time I wake up. Hey, I noticed that since I've been doing all these workouts, like when I do them late at night, I get up later in the morning. So, but it don't matter. Whatever time I get up, I'll still do rise and scripts in the morning. We'll pick back up in 2nd Maccabees. We're going to soon be finished with 2nd Maccabees too. So we'll keep pushing. We'll keep pushing. One book at a time, one day at a time, one episode, one part at a time, man. One chapter at a time, one page at a time, paragraph at a time, sentence and word at a time, here a little bit, there a little bit, till we seek and find the treasures that's been left behind. Man, what things that we can use to help us insurrection and burn down the propaganda in our mind. It's all up to us. It's all up to you. And as long as you have breath to breathe, then there's so many things you can do. Go ahead and bust loose out of the cage that you're held. Bust through them bars and escape from that hell. Escape from that cell. Escape from that jail. Escape the mental barricades and walls that you put up for yourself. Topple them all down and make them fall and stay in good health. Tomorrow's not a promise, and only few are chosen. But while you're still here, let's get to moving and make some motion. Hey, yeah, it is what it is, man. Shalom, everybody. Shalom. Y'all have a wonderful night, man. I'm out here. Shalom. I'm out. Nobody was in there. There's going to be a low count.